Upon the instant you defeat the spirit of Rourke, the whirlwind ceases and all the airborne debris drops harmlessly to the ground. Rourke's ghostly apparition mouths a silent scream before it, and its hideous mount melt into the shadows of the night. You sense that the evil which pervades this sad city has at last been banished for good. So yeah, you finally managed to beat Rourke.
Good thing. That's one arrogant lordling who just does not deserve any evil powers he actually wielded.
Yeah.
He was basically a bitch with too much power.
Also, I found out that back in the second time you met him on that... What?
Echo!
Oh. But I found out that you could actually have fought Rourke back on the Isle of Ghosts if you hadn't brought the Summersword with you. He would be the lesser encounter on that island.
Ah.
In any case, you sleep easily this night and you awake the following morning to the sound of birdsong. It brings a smile to your face to hear that life is already returning to Armory. You gather your equipment, and as you're leaving, you are blessed by an unexpected stroke of luck. By accident, you step on a rotten board, and when you pull your foot free, you discover 10 gold crowns hidden in the hollow beneath the floorboards. I assume you just leave them here for the next people to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, they need a bit more currency to get the town up and running again.
Once outside the broken gate of Armory, you turn to the northern fall of the road which leads to Veretta, the principal city of Lyris. At noon you come to a fork in the road where a signpost indicates two different destinations, Soren, left, and Veretta, right. You take the right-hand road and spend the afternoon riding across a lonely stretch of gently undulating plain. During this ride, unless you possess... you eat something! Daylight is beginning to wane when you arrive at a village that is dominated by a fortified manor house. Rain clouds are fast closing in from the west, and your thoughts turn once more to finding shelter for the night. Do you wish to seek shelter at the manor house or the village?
Well, I would not mind the manor house. Would be awesome if you met Trelawney in there. But then again, I do not think he's part of this universe.
Why would you want to meet her?
Trelawney, as in from, Treasure Island. He was a cool guy.
The only Trelawney I can remember is the divination teacher from Harry Potter.
This conversation is going nowhere. Make a choice of shelter, please.
Alright, I see the manor.
Well, yeah, sure, we have slept in a lot of villages. Let's go to the manor and see if there's anybody home.
A steep path leads to the turreted gate which marks the entrance to this manor house. The house itself is barred and shuttered as if to withstand a siege. You ring a bell at the door, but there's no reply. When you ring a second time, the shutters on an upstairs window creak open and the sneering face of a startlingly ugly woman peers down to you. What do you want? She snaps.
Jesus! Jeez, we're out trying to save the world. Do we need to be so hostile?
There's a picture of her.
Oh god.
Guys.
So yeah, this is Madame.
Jesus!
Why is she under the window?
What?
Oh, that was a gargoyle, sorry.
Very funny, given here, very funny. But seriously, what is up with that goddamn hat?
That I think it's her hair actually, with some nice things in so that it could look really pretty.
What the? Okay, I'm never going to understand that kind of fashion. Anyway, we're here to borrow your manor to sleep in because
We're
tired.
just seeking shelter for the night.
Room for the night and feed for my horse if you'd be so kind, you reply, as politely as you feel able. I'd be prepared to pay, of course. The wart-faced old woman snorts and retreats from view. Moments later, she suddenly reappears and hurls a rotten cabbage which catches you squarely in the face. Lose 1 endurance point.
Okay, that's it. Forced entry.
Be off, you scraggly Northlander! She yells. Before I send the dogs on ya! Wiping a trickle of blood from your nose. Your nose got hurt from that cabbage.
Okay, fine. Ghosts can barely even hurt us for real. And this old lady hurls cabbage at us. Bottom line, old lady...
Sorry, that's the only thing I could think of right there.
Bottom line...
That guy, remember him?
Yep.
Bottom line, old ladies are a bit more lethal than ancient ghosts.
You turn your...
Yeah, that was the only thing I could
Wouldn't exactly
think of right there.
I wouldn't exactly call Rourke ancient.
Oh, old then?
Actually, he was supposed to be rather young when we ran into him the first time.
Ah.
Although the second time we met him, we were supposed to have aged considerably.
Yep, but that's probably the effect of something rather than actual age. You turn your horse about and ride back down the path, cursing the old women under your breath. As you pass through the turret gate, she shouts out, "I heard that!"
Cobra, your old lady voice is sort of terrifying, to be quite honest.
Yes, I was also told that my queen voice that I used last sessions made me sound like a transvestite, that someone had kicked in the balls.
Okay, if I was not suffering from a mild headache now, I would be laughing out loud.
As soon as you rejoin the main road, you urge your horse towards camp and ride into the village that lies a little way beyond. This village is a run-down, shabby-looking place which appears to have seen better days. The timbers of its gaudily painted houses are riddled with rot, and its citizens have a mean and surly demeanor that you find irksome. You're having second thoughts about stopping at the inn and are only persuaded when you hear the distant rumble of thunder. To your surprise, you discover the owner of the pickled scow to be an unusually kind and cheerful character. For 3 gold, deduct those please, he and his daughter furnish you with a fine meal and a warm room above their kitchen. Before you retire for the night, they invite you to sample their ale, free of charge. It is a weak but flavoursome brew, and while you sit in front of the blazing hearth, they tell you stories about the colourful travellers who have spent the night at the inn. Do you wish to ask them if they have heard news about your homeland?
Yeah, sure.
That's actually quite a contrast to this old hag that we had to visit before.
Summerland, answers the innkeeper quizzically. I'm afraid not, kind sir. Your home must be more than 600 miles from here. It's rare we get to hear what's going on in Vareta, and that's only 25 miles to north. Hearing the innkeeper mention how far it is to Summerland brings the leaden feeling to your stomach. You still have far to go, and so little time in which to accomplish your urgent journey. Feeling chastened by the daunting number of miles you must ride, you bid the innkeeper and his daughter good night and retire quietly to your room. You sleep well and rise with the cock's crow. When you reach the stable,
I think it's another word for rooster, but yeah, we know
it is.
Yeah, but we all know how that can be misinterpreted.
You discover the innkeeper has already prepared your horse, ready for your departure. You thank him and wave farewell to the cheerful man and his daughter as you set off on the road north to Vareta. It is midday when you catch your first glimpse of this ancient city. Positioned on a large plateau in the center of a grassy plain, the blood-red walls and towering spires of Vareta look doubly impressive. The impression has been doubled. As you approach to
move on.
The south gate, you admire the carvings which embellish the city walls. They depict great dragons with snake-like bodies that intertwine as they flow around the towers and bastions of this ancient city. The guards at the gate allows you to enter without challenge, and you pass through the grand southern entrance which leads to a flagstone square. As you stop to survey the shops and stores within encircle this busy square, you recall the welcome help you received from Gwinion the Sage the last time you visited here. You remember vividly your meeting with him at the Halls of Learning, but you have no idea whereabout in this vast city the halls are located. Do you wish to go searching for the Halls of Learning?
Might as well, but...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You ask a street trader the ways to the Halls of Learning, and he points impatiently to an avenue on the west side of the square. A rusty plate fixed to the corner building says Quill Street. You ride along this narrow avenue, which is flanked by aromatic jala houses and perfumeries, until it turns abruptly right into a wider thoroughfare called Brass Street. A smile cracks your travel-grimy face when you see the courtyard entrance to a grand building. It has changed much since you were last here, but despite its new brick and marble facade, you recognize Vareta's Halls of Learning. You ride along a gravel path to a fountain where you stop to ask a brown-robed scholar if he knows where Gwinion can be found. Without speaking, he points to a nearby hall. A sign hanging over its richly carved oak door says Library. You thank the robed man and dismount from your horse, leaving him tied to a ring which is set into the wall. Then you push open the door and enter the library's cool interior. Countless thousands of books and parchment crowd the stone shelves of this magnificent library. Your eyes travel along them until they reach another door at the far end of the hall. There, standing framed in the arch, is the man whose help you seek. Welcome, Grandmaster, says Gwinion the Sage. I have been expecting you. Gwinion ushers you through into an adjoining chamber where floating bulbs of light illuminates a stone table covered with charts and scrolls. What news have you of Summerland? You ask anxiously. Grave news, replies Gwinion with an ominous tone. He picks up a chart from the table and traces a finger across the intricate lines and calculations that embellish its ancient yellow surface. The Dark God Nor has opened a shadow gate in the Duancrag Mountains, a corridor between our world and his. By means of this corridor, he has sent a host of winged creatures, the Lavas, to assail your monastery. It is his plan to destroy the young order of Kai warriors while you are not able to lead them. The shadow gate opened at the time of the last full moon, and since then, the Kai monastery has been attacked many times. Nor's servants have your stronghold encircled and cut off from the armies of King Ulnar, who has repeatedly sought to break the siege. Your Kai withstood the attacks well, Lone Wolf, but they are weakening. Only you can save them now. But how, you ask, shamed by Gwynion's account of the events which have occurred during your absence from the monastery? If the armies of King Ulnar are powerless to break the siege, how can I hope to save my brethren? Do not despair, Lone Wolf, replies Gwynion reassuringly. All is not yet lost. You can save your brave order by closing the gate through which Nar sends his Lavas minions. You're about to ask how you could possibly achieve this, how you could close the Shadow Gate, but your urgent question is forestalled by when Gwynyon raises his hand. Patience for just a moment, Lone Wolf, he says, and he allows himself a smile. I, humble Gwynyon, possess the means by which you can thwart the Dark God's murderous plan.
Okay, let's have it then.
From a secret drawer beneath the stone table, Gwynyon brings forth a golden crystal the size of an apple. Its multifaceted surface radiates a myriad tiny beams, which shimmers and sparkle with the fiery energy that is locked within its core. This is a sun crystal, Grandmaster, he says, placing the object into the palm of your hand. Its surface feels pleasantly warm, inviting your touch. If you are to save your brethren, you must close the Shadow Gate for good. This crystal can achieve this aim. It contains power sufficient to destroy the Shadow Gate and prevent its return. And there's a picture. And the internet is celebrating this picture.
Yeah, I had expected it to look... Oh, for goodness sake. I had expected
so
it...
So he's giving us a disco ball. Fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I had expected it to look a bit more sophisticated, but pretty nice.
Yeah, just like punk music and rock and roll is the weakness of Batman, disco is the weakness of Nor.
What do you know?
Okay, I'll go get my boots. Give me a moment.
The greatest champion against the Dark Lord Nor in another dimension goes by the name Disco Stew, in fact.
What the...
You look down at the glowing crystal with fearful respect. Gwynyon notes your concerned smiles. You need not fear the crystal's power, for it cannot cause harm in our world. Only if it's cast into another plane of existence will its power be released. Grandmaster, you must cast it into the Shadow Gate that Nor has created. So this is how I can save my brethren, you whisper as you peer into the glaring head of the crystal. Just so, replies Gwynyon. Just so. Then I must away at once, you say, placing the sun crystal into the pocket of your tunic. Now that I have the weapon I need to save my people, I can stay not a moment longer. I must leave for Castion at once. Yes, says Gwynyon, still smiling. I know of your plans, and I have made provisions for you to travel to the city of merchants more swiftly. Come, follow me, and all will be revealed. You are now gotten the sun crystal as a special item.
Indeed, let me just add it. I'm just going to add on the description, can destroy Nor.
You follow Gwynyon through a series of corridors to a stable from where he brings forth a magnificent white stallion, the finest steed you have ever seen. This is Wildwind, Grandmaster, says Gwynyon as he strokes the steed's muscular neck. He will carry you to Castion far swifter than any horse you have known, swifter than even your own fine steed Storm. You look into Wildwind's intelligent eyes and you take the faint aura of magic about him. But it's not until you climb onto the saddle that you sense his true power. 1,000 thanks, Gwynyon. I am forever in your debt. And with those words you bid Gwynyon farewell and leave the halls of learning. You depart...
Okay, sorry, but I'm just getting a whole Shadowfax vibe to this.
Funny, I was thinking of that myself. You depart you depart from Veretta through its great east gate, and once outside the city you spur Wildwind to the gallop. You are astounded by his speed and untiring stamina.